Good morning and welcome to the Next Gen Genealogy Hangout for May 2016. My name is Shannon Combs-Bennett. I'm the Education Co-Chair, and joining me today is my partner in crime, Eric Wells. Hi, Eric. How are you today?
Hi, Shannon. I'm doing well. Thanks.
Great. Glad to hear that. So we have an exciting show, I guess you could call it, today. We're going to talk about how to get you out of the house and from behind your computer during the nice, warm summer months before it becomes nasty, gray, and cold again.
Yeah, well, it's nasty, gray, and cold today over here, but
that's tomorrow here. So.
Oh, is it? Yeah, this storm is heading your way. But the days following up to this one has been amazing. Really, really nice weather. Just great temperatures, clear skies. Something to drag your friends and family out to do some genealogy work.
Yeah, I have to admit, the 17 days straight of cold gray rain, when the sun finally came out, I just didn't want to be in the house anymore, you know?
I know.
So that's what we're going to be talking about, how to throw off those gray days, and when it's nice out, what people can do to research or share family stories or whatever outside. So do you have a particular thing you like to do out of the house when it's nice?
You know, when I first started getting into this work, my wife thought I was crazy because I would love going to graveyards and taking pictures of headstones for people who needed pictures of headstones. And but over time, she came around, and she's now the one saying, "Oh, there's a cemetery there. Let's stop. And so we don't have any children yet, but what we love doing when we're out and about, and we travel quite a bit around the nation here, and what we love doing is pulling over and going to a graveyard that needs some. We use a website called Find a Grave, and take pictures of headstones. We have to look through the whole graveyard and try and find the individuals that need pictures taken of their headstones.
That's a great way to give back to the community too. And don't forget, Billion Graves also does it. So between the two apps,
as well.
Yeah, between the two apps, we are definitely covered with genealogical kindness, right?
That's right.
I too, I don't even. It used to be just go to try to find my family or something specific at a cemetery, but yeah, now I'm to the point where, and living in Virginia, it's easy to literally find a cemetery to wander through anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one across the street in the middle of the parking lot at the mall across from IKEA here with like 6 little bitty headstones and a little wrought iron gate. I mean, they're literally everywhere.
Yes. Yeah. I'm in Missouri, and we have these tiny little family plots that are just dotted all over the place, and many of them are in the middle of some farmer's gigantic acreage, and so some of them haven't even been documented yet. And it was such a great feeling. My wife at the time thought I was crazy, but now she totally digs it. Like I was saying earlier, contacting the landowner and sort of explaining what I'm doing and addressing their concerns of nobody's going to be contacting you, especially now that I'm going to be taking these pictures. And of course, I had to wear long pants because it was just brush and overgrown, and who knows what kind of critters would have crawled up my leg. But it sounds awful, but it was a lot of fun, and it was really satisfying too. It was really, really satisfying.
This is going to sound really funny, but I was at the Ohio Genealogical Society conference in outside Cincinnati a few weeks ago, and we were at the Great Wolf Lodge next to whatever the amusement park there is. Kings Island, I think it is.
Yes.
But we were sitting at the stoplight, me and my friend, and I look over, and in the trees next to the driveway going into Kings Island, there's a cemetery. And I went, I don't care if it's raining, let's stop. And only with 2 genealogists in the drizzling gray rain at a place they have no idea about would get out and look at
Yeah.
Cemetery.
Yeah, amusement park, cemetery.
It was funny. It was really funny.
That's pretty funny. That's
But,
pretty.
there was actually some really interesting tombstones there. And you can learn a lot, especially if you're into it, about not only people, but design and decoration.
Mhm.
And you can take pictures and collect the different emblems and the work. I find the emblems very interesting.
Some of the headstones actually have pictures of the individuals who were
Hmm.
buried there, and
Some of the modern ones, definitely.
yeah, the modern ones exactly. And when we were in Hawaii for my mother-in-law was sick. When we were in Hawaii, I took some time to look at a graveyard. And one of the requests from Find a Grave was that, hey, can you please take a close-up of the photo on the headstone because we don't have any photos of this person. And so it was kind of nice to be able to get that for the people. Just like we were saying, collect those emblems and also some of the photographs that are on the modern headstones.
So before everyone thinks that all we're going to talk about is cemeteries, there
I
are
know.
other things we can do.
Maybe we should just talk about cemeteries. Yeah, moving on, moving on.
So one of the things I like to do, and thankfully I have children who will go along with this, is we do, I guess you could call it heritage tourism. You've heard of that, right? Have you heard of
Yes.
heritage? Okay. So for people who don't know what heritage tourism is, this might seem pretty simple, but it's essentially just visiting a historical site that pertains to your heritage. And it's actually a big business right now. There's several books about it. Um, Dr. Bill Smith, or Dr. Bill, he has a whole blog about it and writes columns and articles about heritage tourism. So there's lots of information on it. I liked, well, first of all, once again, here on the East Coast, there you can't swing a dead cat without hitting something historical.
Yeah.
I mean, I walk a
How many
hundred.
how many dead cats do you swing around on
Oh,
a regular
geez.
basis?
Yeah. Sorry, that's an old family saying. My kids hate it, by the way.
It it brings up Monty Python to me.
It does. But it's one of the things I like to do, especially in nicer weather, because what better way but to put yourself in potentially something that would have affected, either your ancestor was there or had an impact on their lives or changed the course of history. And to think about it, it kind of, for me, it brings me closer to my ancestors.
Hmm. Yeah, that's we haven't done that quite yet, but it is something that I plan to do. My grandmother's family is from Michigan,
Hmm.
in a very specific town, Muskegon and the surrounding area. And I would love to go and see my great grandfather's grocery store that he owned. And sort of from all of the work that I've done on pulling out stories from the newspaper of my grandmother's side of the family. I'd like to actually see some of these places. I had an ancestor, and everybody's got that ancestor in their family tree. I had an ancestor who got in a fight in a graveyard over a wheelbarrow that he borrowed, and it's just the goofiest story. And I want to see that graveyard. I want to see where he got in a fight.
That is
So
funny.
yeah, it's just goofy. The church that they attended, I'd like to go see the church, and as an added bonus, I'll ask them to see the register from around that time too. One of the other things that we like to do is I try and find distant relatives during the fall and the winter, and then when we're out traveling in the summer, go and visit them.
Yeah, that's great.
We have, or Victoria's got some relatives in Florida, so that's a very nice place to visit, and they've become great friends. And then there's also relatives in Alabama that we've never met, but we're going to go and collect some DNA and visit and get to know them and share some pictures and share some stories and just get to build some relationships.
Oh, that's a great idea. Doing the email and the research in the cold gray months, and then
Yep.
spending the warm months outside or traveling. That's a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's an opportunity where the relatives get to take you around and show you this is the cotton factory that he worked in forever, or this is the house that he grew up in, or that this is the hospital they were born in, or something like that. They get
Right.
all that kind of information.
And of course, take lots of pictures because then it'll
Hmm.
just add to the stories that you're telling or whatever you're writing about your family. That way, like the grocery store, even though it might be the modern view, it's still a picture of what
Yeah,
was there.
yeah.
You can add it to the file.
I've got a picture of the old grocery store and put it next to the new one.
There you go.
And I have an ancestor who owned a shoe store, and I've got the actual picture of the shoe store with the sign on it, and compare the two.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, the other things, and this is going to sound kind of odd, I guess, is um, it's a perfect time in the summer, even though most people are still working, unless you're still in school, and then you might have a summer break, but you might still be working. But this is going to be my if you can't travel, if for whatever reason you can't get out and you can't do these types of things, you can't, go take pictures, it's even just a great time to maybe visit your local repositories,
Hmm.
even if you don't have any relatives or ancestors there, just because you can always find interesting items that you didn't know about the town you now live in, because your descendants, they might be looking for you and want to know about the town you live in too,
Yeah.
so you might as well do some of the footwork for them. Get out, see your town.
Yeah. There are so many surprises once I joined the local genealogy group here, the society. I've learned I had so much more respect for the area that I lived in, the history that was involved in this tiny little town. Well, it's not really tiny, but it's like this town that's 3 hours from every other big town,
Hmm.
and kind of got to see the how it grew up and the people who were involved in doing that, making it happen.
Right. And I think that's important. You can't just always look in the past as genealogists. You kind of also have to think about the future too, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, if we just think about the past all the time, then these records and these records will just disintegrate and go away. I think
There.
that's more of a winter project is digitizing records and photos
Hmm.
when you're inside the whole time.
That's true. That's very true. But I
Yeah.
liked the when you brought up your local genealogy society. It reminded me that some of the genealogy societies in my area do spring and summer and even early fall field trips.
Oh yes, yes, ours do too.
Okay.
We went to Tennessee.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
So I want to encourage our listeners out there that if you're a member of a society, or even if you're not, maybe one of the things you could do, even with other next gen members in your
Mm-hmm.
area, is
Mm-hmm.
maybe do field trips. Organize and plan some field trips where you all can get together and go do something touristy or research wise or something. I think those are great because not only do you get the camaraderie and you build connections and networking, but you learn about history, records, other things you might not know about.
That is a great idea. I know that a lot of people actually go to Salt Lake City too
Hmm.
and visit that big record repository as well. We were out there for
February Roots Tech.
the Roots Tech, and that was the first time I had been out in that repository. It's amazing what's out there.
Yeah, it's half a day by plane for me, so I don't get to go very often. But luckily, I'm just a metro right away from the National Archives, Library of Congress, DAR.
Wow, you lucky
So
duck.
I can, within an hour be in DC and do all that. So you just have to come out here and visit so that I can take everybody on a field trip.
That's a field trip. That field trip idea is a great idea too. It's a really, really good idea.
We may
I
have
like
to
it.
explore that a little bit and talk about it on the Facebook page. See if anybody listens this far.
Yes, really.
Well, we're almost out of time. Do you have anything you think maybe we haven't covered yet?
I think we've got a pretty good range for what to get these genealogists out of the house and out in front of their computer, and just getting into the sunshine and great air.
Yeah, because I have put a rut in this chair from sitting here typing too long. So I need to take my own advice now and get the heck out of the house, especially since it's beautiful here today and it's supposed to do thunderstorms up to 3 inches of rain tomorrow.
Take advantage of it.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, like always, please comment on this. Also, let's start a conversation on the Facebook page. Tell us what you think, what you don't think, what you liked, what you didn't like, anything that you would like to tell us. And we're always looking for suggestions or people to join us on the Hangout, so let us know too. So goodbye, everybody, and we'll see you next month.
Bye, guys. Field trip.